I don't know how or when it started. Must have been sometime during the 80s. Oh, ha 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 ha. You sit here and you want to judge me? You want to judge me on my obsession? Okay. Well, yeah, so what? Yeah, I love Cobras. Deal with it. The 80s and 90s were great times to be a kid. Join me as I dive into the world of movies, music, video games and toys, and explore what made these decades so great. This is the Big Retro Show. What's up, everybody? This is Los and this is the Big Retro Show, and today we're talking about a very weird trend that happened in the 80s. We are talking about Cobras. Now, the 80s for some reason were full of Cobras. You might say that they were infested with them. So today we're going to take a look at some of the Cobras that define the 80s, guys. And yes, I know this is a weird episode, but please bear with me. My first exposure to Cobra during the 1980s was through G.I. Joe. And yes, I know I just did a video about the video game history of G.I. Joe, so I won't gab too much about it. One of my favorite Cobras was the Ninja Storm Shadow.
Anti-Cobra radar system. The fates have smiled on me this day. With but one blow from Excalibur, the new Joe radar system will be useless.
The toy was awesome and came with nunchucks, a dagger, a sword, and a bow. All the necessary tools to kill Snake Eyes, his mortal enemy, and one-time friend. My other favorite Cobra was Zartan. He was a man of mystery who could disguise himself as anyone, and the toy awesomely changed color in the sunlight. He was also the leader of the rowdiest group of dudes in the entire Cobra lineup, the Dreadnoks. These guys were the outlaws of Cobra and reminded me of a heavy metal band. Was Cobra Commander really the leader of Cobra? Or was it Serpentor? See, I tend to think that Serpentor was probably the leader of Cobra. I mean, Cobra Commander had it pretty good for a couple of years until Dr. Mindbender, made Serpentor. He-Man was also to blame for the perpetuation of the Cobra trend, and while never directly championing Cobra, he had Cobra imagery throughout the cartoon series. Probably the most telling of these signs was the character Cobra Khan. Cobra Khan was one of Skeletor's henchmen, and the toy was so cool. You could fill it with water and press down on his head to shoot it at people. It was his poison. Another sign of Cobra in He-Man was Snake Mountain itself. While the Cobra high on top of Snake Mountain was more of a boa constrictor type snake, the imagery was there. It was all about snakes, and I can imagine that a few Cobras were slithering about.
Come, He-Man. Come to Snake Mountain. You dare.
Snake Mountain with Echo Microphone, new from the Masters of the Universe collection.
The other Cobra imagery that's worth a mention is the Teela character. While Teela never donned any Cobras during the cartoon, the toys and comics portrayed her with a Cobra headdress and a staff. We were not fooled by her wholesomeness in the cartoons, though. We knew of her love of Cobras from the get-go. I honestly think that the creators of Masters of the Universe had a fetish with Cobras. Okay, look at Teela. Look at Cobra Khan. Look at Snake Mountain, for crying out loud. Another toy that was also perpetuating Cobras was Hot Wheels' Cobra Stunt playset, which was essentially a racetrack that looked like a Cobra. The kicker was at the end of the track was a Cobra head, and your goal was to race your Hot Wheel through the head to unfurl the Cobra's tongue. I remember having this playset, and I loved it. You know, the toy companies share all the responsibility for this addiction to Cobra. If it wasn't for that dang racetrack, we wouldn't be here right now. The Cobra theme continued with Raiders of the Lost Ark. The film's protagonist, Indiana Jones, makes it clear from the get-go that he hates snakes. And what does he get to deal with later on in the film? That's right. In one of the most iconic scenes of cinematic history, Indy needs to survive a room full of snakes in order to obtain the sacred Ark of the Covenant. Of course, the big bad Cobra takes center stage in the room, much like it did during the 80s.
You know, Indiana Jones likes to say that he doesn't like snakes, he doesn't like cobras, blah, blah, blah. Is he being truthful? I don't think so.
Now I think would be a good time to talk about one of the coolest Cobra pack of the 80s, Cobra Kai. Cobra were the goons who bullied poor Daniel LaRusso in the epic Karate Kid movie. The Cobra's head goon, Johnny, ruled these guys with an iron fist, and together with his Cobra Kai homies, were merciless to poor Daniel-san. That is until Daniel-san befriended the karate assassin Mr. Miyagi, and the tides turned. What made these guys cool were quite frankly their Cobra imagery. Without it, they were just another pack of bullies. Cobra Kai made a big comeback last year with the series named after them. The series is epic because it's a continuation of the rivalry between Daniel and Johnny and the two dojos, Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do. It's hugely entertaining seeing where both of these men ended up in life and how they interact today. Much like the films, it's got a lot of heart and I highly recommend them. Cobra Kai was so Cobra that their sensei John Kreese, played by the excellent Martin Kove, was featured in a commercial for the Cobra Kai drink of choice. Cobra Kai malt liquor, of course. Now that's hella Cobra.
Everyone knows that that kick was illegal. I don't even know how Daniel won that match. He should have been disqualified.
Last but not least is the Sylvester Stallone cult classic Cobra. Stallone plays Marion Cobretti, aka Cobra, a member of the LAPD's elite division known as the Zombie Squad. Cobra doesn't take any mess. After all, crime is a disease and he's the cure. Using his excellent gun skills, he takes on a criminal organization based on world domination. Sound familiar? Anyhow, I don't remember this movie quite as well as I do The Karate Kid, probably because it was hella violent and some of the themes were lost on my 9-year-old self. Probably for the better.
Yeah, you know what? When crime is so bad that you have to send Stallone to go and solve everything, he gets to do whatever the he wants. And that's gonna do it for the Big Retro Show today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Tell me what were your favorite Cobras of the 1980s down in the comments below. And thank you very much for your support. I will see you on the next Big Retro Show.